Welcome to the Diary of Beautician. This is your host, Shah. Tune into my podcast from the health and beauty industry via my website. I'll be discussing various topics, stories, news, educational, historical, and personal content. For business inquiries and bookings, please head over to my website. That's www.shashalondon.co.uk. You can follow me on social media, Instagram at shashalondon84, Facebook Shasha London, Twitter Shasha London. I'm also available on LinkedIn as Shasha London. If you have any questions, do feel free to send them to me via social media, or you can email me directly at shashalondoninfo@gmail.com. So welcome back. I hope everyone had a good week, productive, and I want to welcome those who are tuning for the first time. Welcome to my podcast. I hope you find it informative and you enjoy the content that I bring to you this week. Today is March the 8th, 2020, and around the world we are celebrating International Women's Day. Looking at the achievements of various women from all walks of life, whether they're working in the media, entertainment, music, as a doctor, farmer, physicist, athlete, a dancer, a beautician, yay me, a mother, a sister, a grandmother, aunt, whoever you are as a woman on this planet. It's a day of celebrating you. Yes, it's celebrating you with all your efforts and all your hard works. We've come such a long way as women in various industries, and there is so much more improvement that is required in these industries, i.e. pay, yes, and also other things like what we are having to pay for, like charging women taxes on their sanitary towels and things like that, equality, so many various other things. But we've come a long way. We have come a long way. The ability to vote, because there was a point in the timeline we weren't able to vote as women. So we are still requiring many things in society as women to be treated as equals. Equal human beings in society. And women have achieved a lot of things, whether they're things that we've heard on a global effect, or whether it's just in our homes. We as women have done so much and contribute to so much in society. So today is a big celebration across the world, celebrating women. Okay. So today's topic, funny enough, it's weird because I wasn't even thinking about combining the day and the topic of conversation, but it just happened that way. So my topic of conversation this week is about diversity in the industry that I'm in, which is the beauty industry. And I just felt it's a topic of conversation that's not actually had. Like, no one has actually had that conversation. If they have had it, I actually need to know. So if you do know if there's been a topic of conversation like this, please let me know. Send me the video link, or, I would love to listen to it. Or if someone wrote about it, then send me the link of the article, then I can have a read of it. So this topic of conversation is something where I feel is just something that the conversation needs to be had, and then there needs to be some sort of action with it, okay? Because we can talk as much as we want and have all these conversations, which is fantastic because it's allowing us to have that flow of discussion about something or the thing or whatever it is, but then there has to be something proactive going on. There has to be some sort of change, okay? Where it needs to be. So diversity, I find that the industry I am has women who are in this industry, the beauty industry, providing the treatment. So if you don't know, the beauty industry, when you go to have your treatment, you are always seeing women as the front face, the face of the business, the face of the spas, the face of the leisure centres, faces, you always see the women at the forefront providing. Okay, and it's great. That's fantastic. It's a women-led industry, but are the women being paid for their services accordingly to what their job is? Are they being elevated? So are they climbing the rankings of the businesses or the corporations? Right? These are the things that I question. Is it happening? Is it available? And whose faces are there in these corporations, in these businesses? Are they reflecting the individuals or the people that you see every day on the streets or in your home, in your work? Are we having a diversity of people in the work environment? And those are some of the things that I have been thinking about. So being in the beauty industry, as I said, there is a diverse of people, however, not in the way that I would like it to be. So let's talk about the front line. The front line is the beautician. If you're in America, I think it's the estrogen, or I believe it's that. If it's not, sorry. And then you would have also, we usually call it beauty therapist here. And as I said, with these industries and with this industry in particular, with the women being on the front line, are they able to climb the rankings of the industry? So the answer is yes, you do, you can. But is every person being represented in the industry? So you would see more of a Caucasian woman running or owning that salon, or being the manager of the spa, right? And then you may have a man being the director or CEO, or the owner of the the brand. Okay, and for me, again, he will be Caucasian. Okay, you won't tend to see an Asian or a West Indian woman or an African woman or a European woman in those sort of corporation or establishment, being a CEO or owner or director of these big companies. And some will say, well, that if they want it, they can make it for themselves. Absolutely. The entrepreneurial spirit comes in, and there's a lot of people out here who wants to do that or want to build that long term, which is fantastic. But when I look across the pond in America or other countries, you tend to see there is a diversity of people from different cultures or different heritage having the opportunity to develop their skills in those fields, and it's reflected. And that's what I would like to see here in the UK. A reflection of different diversity of people in the industry, of the beauty industry, being reflected. Okay? And then I would like to also see, men in the industry a little bit more on the front line. So not just women doing just the providing of the services, men as well. Now, I know we have now, of lately, probably the last 5 years, you have male masseurs or masseurs doing massages for particular companies, which is great. However, there is still that dominancy of women in this industry having the roles as beautician and, beauty therapists or skin therapists or makeup artists or nail technician. So it's just about thinking about, again, I go back to it, thinking about what we're seeing outside. What's the reflection we're seeing outside? And why is it just segregated to just one, person's heritage or nationality or culture? Why is it not opening to other nationalities, heritage, culture, race? Why are we not opening those doors? Why are we not making it more inclusive? Okay? Because when people tend to, funny enough, it's funny because people look at the beauty industry and think, wow, it seems to be inclusive. There's men, there's women, there's makeup, there's this and that. But it's not really when you really go behind the scenes, okay? Like I said, there is the odd one or two men who are doing the massaging or possibly doing makeup, or possibly doing... I haven't seen much males doing nails. And if there is, power to you. That's great, you know? And you may see more men doing anesthetics, so they're doing more aesthetic skin, like using machinery for like chemical pills, you know, injectables, fillers, things like that. They possibly doctors who's qualified and gone into the beauty industry to elevate their careers, or better pay, whatever the reason is. There you probably see more men. But again, as I said, it would be good to see the men being in the beauty industry on the front line. So there you go. You've got that element there, the not seeing the diversity of people in the beauty industry as managers or CEOs or directors. Okay, and then you've got to look at the pay scales as well. And this is going back to the topical conversation that I started sometime last year about valuing your professionals. Please listen to that podcast again, or if you haven't listened to it, listen to it. You know, I was discussing about, you know, being qualified in this industry, so having to do a number of years of studying and go through all these practical aspects and testing and so forth, and then not able to get the pay or the job you trained for so long. So it puts you off, and then a lot of people leave the industry because the pay doesn't equate to the amount of training you do. And then if you paid for, you know, if you're going through the student loan, like most people do, you're going to have to pay that back at some point. So is it worth it? Is it all worth it when you really think about it? Because if the pay is £9 and you're spending nearly 40 hours a week doing back to back, you know, massages from Monday to Sunday, because the beauty industry is open from 7 days, how are you then ever getting a quality of life? How are you taking care of yourself? But again, listen to that podcast, and then you will listen to my points of views on that. So again, it's having the balance in the workplace and having the opportunity, both male and females having, you know, the chance to do jobs that they feel they can do through all the vigorous training they go through, and actually getting paid for it. So it's also making it inclusive and stop having this sort of type of segregation. So you've got seeing the diversity in the spas and the salons, but also seeing the diversity in the independencies, so the entrepreneurial sort. So today there are more women from different ethnic backgrounds now, as I said, opening up their own independent businesses to continue the works that they love. And that's fantastic because, again, it's showing the diversity in this industry. And I'm going to name a few of them. It was published in Professional Beauty this week. I think it's the top 100 professionals who have, you know, made an impact in the beauty industry. Now, I didn't go through all 100 people on the list because it's just so many people to go through and look at. But the ones that I could get through, I'm just going to name a few. So the names are Antonia Burrell, Paul Betty, Tinu Bello, Iraka Felmenta, Natalie Vo, Shavata Singh, Charmaine Reed, and Vicky Patel. So those were the few people that I saw from the top 100 list from the Professional Beauty. Do go over to Professional Beauty website or follow them on Twitter, and I believe they might be on Facebook as well. and they had lists of all these people, but it was nice to see a diverse of people from different heritage, different background, different culture, different ethnicity, being counted in on this list. And these people have independently were able to, you know, create a business structure for other women to get involved from different ethnic backgrounds, which is beautiful to see. And that's what we want, because as I said, when we look outside our window, when we're at home, we may see our own selves, reflections. So you may marry back into your culture, or you may not. But if you've married it back into your culture, you're going to see your self-reflection, right? Okay. If you're looking outside and you're seeing other people from different cultures, then that's what we want to see in our workplaces. We want to see the same reflection of different people. We don't want it to be segregated or isolated, because we need to understand one another, to work together, to keep the workforce going ultimately, but being inclusive, because these women have trained for the many years to do the job that they like or love. So it's good to have that diverse experience in the workplace. Okay. So having that reflection there is important and imperative. And as I said, seeing that list and seeing these people on the list was really refreshing. Okay. It was refreshing to see. And again, they've independently opened their own salons, whether it's a nail bar, whether it's a hair salon, beauty, makeup artists, or just beauty therapist work. They did that. And then I tend to kind of go in a little bit deeper and go to their websites and have a look at their team and their staff. And I could see, again, a reflection of different cultures in these works. And it was fantastic. I was excited. I was like, wow, okay, you made this work. And that's beautiful to see. Okay. Now, a lot of these places are in London. So most of these individuals have their businesses in London. It would be nice to see, going out of London, it starts to reflect that. Okay. I tend to see when you're in the cities, you'll see more of a diverse of ethnic backgrounds, but when you get into the rural areas of the country, you don't see that. And maybe because people feel that, you know, is it okay to start something new here, being the only, you know, ethnic person in this village? Who knows? And I would hope the response would be, yes, we welcome it. We welcome you here. We welcome your business. We welcome your, you know, your culture. But again, it's quite interesting, because I've worked at some of the hotels in London, and when some of these women come from, or men come from, you know, say like a village outside London, or, you know, far up north of London, you know, England, and they come to see you, it is an experience that you can articulate yourself well, you can provide the treatments really well, you can do pre and aftercare advice, and for them it's like, wow, this is, you know, they're amazed by you. And you're probably thinking, what do you mean? The way that they look at you. Because I was born here in England. I was born in London. My parents are both from the West Indies. They're Jamaican. So I'm the first generation born here in the UK. And when someone sees you, they look at you, because it's perception, isn't it? It's like, what can you do? Like, how good are you? Or, you know, why are you in this? And when you open your mouth and you articulate yourself and you show them what you can do, what you've trained to do as a professional, and you give them an amazing experience, for them, it's like a shock. It's a shock of, wow, did you do all of that? Did you, you know, it's a disbelief. And sometimes that's because of what they've seen from someone that looks like me, not me, but that looks like me. The assumption is that's what it's like. That's how it's like, but it's not that. And again, we have to judge people solely individually as opposed to collectively, right? So again, seeing the diverse and meeting people from different backgrounds, and when people come from parts of the world where they're not seeing so many faces like mine, and then meeting someone like myself who can do these things really well, it is for them, it's a shock, but it's also exciting. And you know, that's where I said it'd be good if there's more businesses from other ethnic backgrounds able to go into these sort of rural areas or quiet areas of the UK where there's not much ethnic people there, and they can embark on businesses that can showcase their talent and their professionalism and integrate in that sort of way. So it's not such a culture shock when they come into the city and see you there and you know, there's that, oh yes, I've had something like this before. I've met, you know, it's taking it from the experiences that's available in their neck of the woods, sort of thing. So allowing the diverse experience to go all over the UK and to see the diversity on the levels of being a senior therapist to manager to CEO, director and owner, seeing a diverse set of people in these roles would be fantastic. Okay, and welcoming men into the front line and allowing them to do the roles that I'm sure some of them would love to do. Okay, so it's all about being inclusive and being fair and being reflecting the honest truth, what we see every day, whether we're looking in our newspapers, our magazines, online. And again, the thing that I find that's not inclusive, another thing is as well, when I look at publication, you know, looking in the magazines and I'm seeing a, you know, like a 100-page, or probably being overzealous, 100-page magazine of all these, you know, stunning, beautiful Caucasian women and men, but then seeing just one black woman, Asian woman, Chinese woman, a hand. And I think, God, is that all we equated to? Why is this not reflecting everybody in here? Because there's so many of us doing it. And it's unbelievable that you could think that it's just one particular, you know, race or ethnic person in this magazine out of all the pages you have. You know, we need a better representation and we need a reflection. Okay? 100 pages and then one page, quarter of a page showcasing one ethnic person. That's not enough. I'm sorry, that's not enough. Because as I said, there's so many talented women and men who have the ability to showcase their talent. But are we giving them the opportunity? And again, I look at it via social media with all the big brands. It's only over lately, some of the brands are now embarking on showcasing darker skin. Okay? Darker skin, hands with nails, makeup, so on and so on. And again, it's like, it's kind of like, oh, should we do it? Should we not do it? And I'm not there to even say that, but I wonder if that's what's happening. I don't know if it's going to sell. I don't know if it's going to be marketable enough, putting her darker skin on there. You know, is it going to get the ratings? Is it going to get the money in? I don't really know. And I actually would love to be in on one of those meetings just to see what it is and even find out about the, you know, the ratings as well. But at the end of the day, it's about you who have the ability to showcase it. If you own one of these magazines, if you own one of these publications and you're only reflecting one race. Why is that? Like, why is that? And again, as I said, we've got to reflect what we're seeing in the world, okay? What's outside our doors. We need the reflection, because we have so many talented, I mean, man, seriously, so many talented individuals out here, and we're not seeing these talented individuals being represented on the greatest scale. So when I read out some of these names today that I could find on the top 100 list, it was fantastic to see it. And as I said, they independently financed that situation to be able to build their brand and their businesses in order to bring a sort of diverse experience to the world, to the clientele, to the people. And that's what I would like to see more. I would love to see more of that. Okay? Because at the end of the day, we're all human people. We're all part of the human race, right? We are all on this planet together. And we're here to help build, this planet up into a good state, not into a bad state, even though we have kind of neglected that, but that's another topic. But we're here together, work together to make a difference. And it's time to allow that reflection to be, go into these salons, into these spas, and be reflected. Okay? And it's just sad that 2020, I'm actually having this conversation about the lack of diversity. I would love to be saying, oh my gosh, this industry is so inclusive, it's so important, but it's not. Like I said, I can get as many magazines from all different type of publication, but you'll get just like quarter of a page, not even that, of one ethnic person. Or they'll put the ethnic person on the front of the magazine to make it inclusive. But then you go into the magazine, and for the next 100 pages, right. So what's that about? What are you saying, that we're not worthy enough? Or is it that you feel we can't sell enough? I just think it's time to breach this gap. I remember being invited to a meeting in Chelsea from some years back from one of the publications, and I was really excited because I've never been to one of these meetings before, and I met various talented individuals who've built up their businesses and brands from nothing, or they had the opportunity to excel and become the directors and the CEOs of these companies. And just hearing their stories and their testimonies and things that they feel needs to be changed in the industry was really good and very interesting. And it was a really good experience. But for me, as I said, my part in that was to address, as I said, the diversity that I'm not seeing in, like I said, in this publication, on the TV advertisement, when they do the trade shows, why am I not seeing more women from different ethnic backgrounds having their opportunity, on the main stage, not on the back, not right down at the back of the, not at the back of the, the trade show where you walk around and you get lost and then you find an ethnic person. You're like, well, hey, how are you? No, I want to see it at the front. Okay? I want to see it at the front. Again, creating products and things that work not just for one person, but for everyone. Getting people inclusive, getting people together, having this conversation. Because, the conversation is great. The conversation is fun. But after the conversation, everyone goes home and they forget about it. Right? That's how it ends up. The conversations happen. I've had the conversation, discussed it with you guys, and then it's done. I want this conversation to continue on after we've had the conversation, where people start putting things into practice, people are putting things into play, people are doing something about it. Okay? The beauty industry is like a million, probably £1 billion industry here in the UK. Across the world, again, could be billion, trillion dollar, whatever it is. You know, it's big. But when you see here how the progression is, it's not that great. And I think it kind of goes across all boards when it comes to the diversity of the progression ladder. It's not that great. But when you look over to America, you see a better diverse of people climbing the ladder. And that's great, because you're giving people opportunities. And we need that here. We need more opportunities here. We need to see more people from different ethnic backgrounds getting those opportunities and not dominated by one particular person's or people. It needs to be open. Okay? Because once you train and you can do your job really well, why are you not able to move on? Why are you not able to elevate? I've spoken to many of therapists, many of people. I've gone and had treatment with other people, and I've asked them what they want to do, and they always tend to say, "I want to progress." And even if they go back to study and pay the money to go and do the progression, do they get the jobs? Right? Because then when you look at the jobs say, well, I need from you experience. And for me, I kind of think that when you have your doctors and nurses, their experience is what they do in the little time that they have throughout their studying, doing all their theory. They have to go into their job straight away. So why are we not putting that same aspect with a beautician? Why are we putting that delay on them? They're gonna have to learn on the job. So putting that delay doesn't help the situation. It just makes it even more harder for them to get the job. So that needs to change. And the other thing that needs to change is the bringing the beauty industry and the health industry together. But that's going to be another topic of conversation for another day. Okay? There's a lot of solutions. I'm a person, I believe in solutions. You know, like, we've got a problem here. We need to solve this. There is a solution. There is a way of getting through this. But I tend to see that people are comfortable with how things are, and they don't tend to see there is an actual problem. And maybe because they've not had that conversation, as I said, they've not had that conversation with a person like myself about it, because they're comfortable. They've never felt excluded, right? So me saying that, you know, myself or someone else would love to be the manager or love to be the director, but because based upon not having the experience, they may have the qualification, or they may need to go and get the qualification. They won't get their foot in the door because they haven't got enough experience being that particular person. So that's why I'm saying you need to allow that to happen. Okay? You need to give them that opportunity. Because there's enough. There's I just always feel and believe that there's enough for spaces for everyone to have a seat. But there's always this kind of like, well, there's that kind of and ahhing about the seats. And there are seats because you're seeing people from ethnic background making those seats. And we need to make more seats. The talents are there, the professionals are there, and they're in the ethnic community, the minority, what society calls it, the minority. They are there, willing to go, willing to do. And I think it's about time this beauty industry start making it more diverse. Okay? More diverse. So that's really it. If you feel I've left anything out, if you feel there was something you disagreed with me, like, no, she's wrong, what is she talking about? Or you felt, oh gosh, that was really good and I really want to talk to you about more, email me. Let's continue this conversation. But when we continue this conversation, let's start putting more action into the topic of conversation. Let this not just let it be a conversation and we're talking, because we don't need to. Once we've had that conversation, right, once we know there's something that needs to be done, we need to then be doing something about it. Okay, so again, if you feel there's something I've missed out, or there's something you feel that I could discuss again, because I could actually go back to the topic of conversation, and I think I will do in the future, just to see where we've come so far in this topic of conversation. And as I said, if you really disagree with me, again, let's talk. Let's have this conversation. So I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you get to fulfill all the things that you want to do this week and achieve all the things you want to achieve, and just have a good week on the overhaul. Okay, stay safe. We have the COVID-19 virus still spreading throughout the UK. So just be safe. Make sure you are washing, not just your hands, but you're washing from head to toe, okay? Because it can happen. If it's virus, it can go anywhere. Washing of the hands, washing of the body, staying regularly clean, disinfecting your home when you're coming in off the street. This is something I do. Always cleaning the floors, okay? You have to, because you're stepping outside on the street into your home. And just be safe. Listen to the latest information from NHS website, World Health Organization, and they will keep you up to date. Hopefully the government have put some information upon the .gov website. So again, just be safe. And if you feel that you are coming down with the symptoms, do call, I believe, 111. Do not go to your doctors or the hospital, because they can't deal with that type of virus with other sick people in the hospital. So do call 111, or if it's an emergency, 999. Okay, so thank you for listening, and tune in next time.